Oh man, just figured out my podcast setup for like the fourth time because that's how we do it, and I'm gonna slowly adjust it the entire time. Hopefully, I don't because that will be. Oh, I'm gonna just knock down the whole table real quick. So that'll be really annoying, and you guys probably don't want to see that. But yeah, we finally have something going on here. Just figured out that my headsets are left and right pair. I did not know. I just kind of put them on. So anybody out there who is watching and you guys noticed that my headset wasn't on the correct way. Oh God. Don't hold back. Make fun of me. Let me know. Let me know that I've fucked up. Because I tend to do that a lot. But yeah. So this is going to be the setup for a little bit. I added a few things. I got this brand new mic set up, as you can see. I still have my other one. The other one is just for dual podcasts. This one has an arm, so I'm going to take this one. I'm going to give the guest a cheap one because that's how we do it. No, honestly, I want to get two of these arms, which I want to upgrade my mics relatively soon, hopefully before Christmas. And I think these mics don't correlate with the these arms. So this arm right here wouldn't fit with the mics that I want to get, which are like the mics that every podcaster uses, from Bert Kreischer to Joe Rogan to Tim Ferriss. It's like the big ST Rode something number. That's the one I eventually want to get, but as of right now, we're working with this one. This is Audio Technica 2020, T2020 with an arm, and it came with a headset, and that was like a package deal. I have this camera at a more, it's higher up, and I have more foreground, and I have more images to my right, maybe your left. And yeah, so I added a few things. I had to hook up this arm to something, so I had to add this little table, added my camera, Juicy Fruit because of whatever, and it looks cool. Baseball hat. Right over here I have a Carl Yastrzemski, who actually, his grandson played for in the Orioles organization. I think he might actually still play. I think he's at AAA now. Yeah, so I kind of have this nice little setup right here for a single solo podcast. And the last one you guys saw was the duo I did with my mom. Those are fun. Like, I'm really excited. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. I know a lot of people are asking me to come on to the show, and like I said, the only issue with that is it is in my bedroom, so I got to figure out a way to make it more. I got to make it more comfortable for the guest, and I also had to do my first podcast with my mother. Just had to happen, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. As you can see, I wasn't the best. Asking a lot of questions wasn't as flowy as I wanted it to be. My mom was also very nervous about it. She was shocked after an hour of podcast went by. It was like an hour went by, and she was completely shocked because I told her, I was like, I want it to be about 45 minutes or an hour. I couldn't do an hour 15 or an hour and a half like I wanted to actually do. Wasn't going to tell her that. I was just going to go and film. But I couldn't do that because I had to go to a baseball game at a certain time, and I had to pick up my girlfriend. So I had to just do what I did, which was nice, and she did really well. I could have done better. Obviously, I blame everything on myself always. I think that's a good thing to do, but also up to a point it can be bad. But I do think with this entire podcast thing, everything that I do and don't do is on me. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I am looking forward to doing multiple duo podcasts. Eventually, I want to do basically just duos. So just having a guest on every single podcast with a solo podcast every once in a while, especially if I have like a topic I want to talk about, which if you guys been watching this podcast a little bit, I normally don't. I just kind of ramble, and then you guys enjoy it. And I've been getting a lot of feedback. A lot of people are enjoying that style, which is really neat. It's something that I've always been, people asking me, because I've been wanting to do a podcast for several years, and actually before this one, I had one. It was called like Mike's Life and Experiences, and I was using a platform called Anchor. And Anchor is a cool app in the sense that it allows you to post to a platform. It's like a social media for podcasting, And the host, so you post essentially to a host. So I have a host, which I think there's multiple out there. There's like Podbean. I use Libsyn. It costs per month, but it allows you to post to them, and then it posts to major platforms of podcasting. And I was using Anchor for a while, and that was fun. It was really good. It actually got like 2,000 views, and I was just filming in my car with my just putting my recording device up to my mouth, which was just my phone. But I knew I eventually wanted to just advance it a little bit, but I was at the same time I didn't want to not do it because I didn't have it, and that's like kind of I think that's kind of a lesson there. People tend to not do something because they want it to be as professional as possible. But it's like a high school football player or a high school baseball player. It's like you're not a professional, so you're not going to play as professional. So it's very. I think it lacks a lot of authenticity. Like if I just busted out this mic and this setup and all these lights and whatever and all this like 4 months ago, it would have been completely out of character, and it would have just been less me. It would have been more professional, which is fine. Like that's the goal, to be very professional eventually and upgrade everything. But I think the process of getting there, I think there's certain steps you have to take, not just for yourself, but I think as an audience. Like if I knew somebody as a family friend or just a friend, and next thing I know they have the state of art podcast setup, I would be happy for them, but I'd be like, this doesn't seem like just like last week we were like BSing about some weird topic, and now you're over here with like a $3,000 podcast setup. So it could be strange in that sense, and that was not what I wanted to do. Plus, I also am a big believer that you do have to like mess up too, and I definitely did mess up. I lost a decent amount of money when I started the podcast, but like I said, it's a work in progress, and the setup I have right now is going to be changing on and off. And I do it all in my room. So I have a wall behind me that's about, 10 feet long. And I try to get this as my solo area. And then over there on top of my dresser, actually, it's got all my clothing in it. I try to do like a double area. But it's a work in progress, like I said. And that's what makes it fun. I think just learning from your mistakes is, I think, the most important thing. But like I said, hopefully you guys enjoy that episode with my mom. Hopefully the next one you guys see are going to be with my buddy Charles. I'm going to get him on the podcast very soon. Him and I are just going to sit down, cut the shit, and see what happens. I mean, I could even just do it right here and just have like the guest right there, and we could just talk back and forth, and then just put the camera out a little bit farther. That might actually work. The more I'm looking at it, I think that's what I actually might do. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Do you guys, excuse me, I just want to write this down. I also removed my laptop here because although it's right next to me, I don't think you guys can see it. Although I do like having the laptop so I don't like completely misspeak on everything. I do want to have it set up where I can still look things up before I say some random shit, because I don't want to say something that's like absolutely not true. I think that's just a bad look, a bad look. Let me just put this down in my calendar real quick. I have my personal training test coming up soon also. I'm going to put this on reminders. I don't know how to use reminders too much. Yeah, I'm just going to put it on my calendar. I'm going to just put it on for tomorrow. That's not tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 15th. Today's the 15th. Tomorrow's the 16th, which is Friday. I'm going to add this note real quick. New podcast for 2. Same as 1. Add chair to right of me. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to anybody, and it's going to make sense to me tomorrow, hopefully. Okay, cool. Got that added. Just wanted to make sure I got that out of the way before I forgot about it. But yeah, so this is kind of what we're rolling with right now. I do like having this mic here. I don't have to grab anything, less noise. I do like having this open right here so you guys can see me directly. I didn't like not having my deer showing, which is still kind of blocked. But this deer has been a pain in my ass, so I really wanted to show it because it has been a work in progress to get it up and standing like that. And I get out of my chair a different way now, which is nice. But yeah, this is cool. I'm really excited with what's going on. I still can't really believe it when I walk into my room. I'm just kind of blown away by the fact that just 2 months ago, this was not like this was not here at all. Like this didn't exist, and now it is here, and we're actually shooting podcasts. I think I'm shooting episode 14 right now, and that's just kind of amazing. It shows resilience, I think, but it also shows more than anything that you can honestly do whatever the hell you want to do as long as you take calculated steps. Up to a point, you can still be reckless. Like I was probably reckless with this idea, and I, maybe started it too early or too late. But I think as long as you keep going and you kind of have an idea of what you want the ultimate goal to be, I think it's first of all, it's 100% worth it. Like if it's in your mind at all and you're falling asleep about it, and it's like something that's in your heart and you are thinking about it all the time, I think you're doing yourself like a disfavor to not do it. I think that's not what you want to do. I think if you have anything that resembles some type of passion, I think it's suicide to not partake in it and at least see what happens with it. I can sit back and say I've tried a lot of things. I've dropped out of school. I mean, while I was out of school, I was completely fine with it. And then I just felt like my brain was getting slower and I was starting to get lazier. And I not really lazy, but I just started settling for with who I was, and I wasn't progressing in anything. Like I was like financially, I was working a lot and I was making money. I still live with my parents and currently do, which is something that I'm not ashamed of, which I think a lot of people, I'm insecure. I'm insecure about it because I bring it up like that. Like if I wasn't insecure, I would just say I live with my parents or whatever, but I bring it up like I live with my parents and then I defend myself, which it is an insecurity of mine. And I understand that a lot of people don't do it anymore, don't live with their parents, but I do, and I can't afford right now to not. Now, do I don't feel as bad because, I stay out of their way, and they're two very successful adults, and I'm going to college now. Like, before, I felt horrible for, like, living here, and, my mom listens to these podcasts, which is actually kind of weird. Like that's a weird thing that people do listen to these podcasts. So it's like sometimes I say things on here I don't even know what I say, and I guess I do get a little insecure sometimes thinking about what people might be saying about me, what people are thinking about me, and as much like I want to sit here and just say like it doesn't bother me and I don't care. The truth to be told, sometimes you do, and sometimes it does bother you, and sometimes because you want to be accepted by as many people as possible. But the truth is, sometimes I just forget what I say, and I say a lot of things that maybe can be offensive or can be hurtful, but I would love to talk to somebody about them. And that's this point of this long podcast of me just talking is that I've accepted that I will say things that are not fully thought out, not with the intention to hurt people at all, but sometimes just because they're in my head, and I don't know, like. I was having this thought yesterday. What if everybody did everything that was evil in their head that they thought about? It's like there's certain people in the world that are absolutely evil, and then there's some people in the world who do evil things, and then there's people who don't do evil things, but that they think about them, right? I mean, it's a very animalistic idea. It's part of our brain. It's literally wired into our reptilian part of our brain, the brain that it gets aroused when we see a naked woman or an attractive woman or attractive man or a strong man. The same part of the brain that if you get really, like if you're on a desert and there's a 5 ounces of water or there's a 5-ounce Coke and you haven't drank in water for 4 days, you're not going to touch the soda. You're going to drink the water. The same part of the brain that you will kill your own dog if you have to and you haven't eaten for 2 weeks. Like that's the part of the brain, that really reptilian part of your brain is where those deep ideas sit at. Like those dark ideas, those ideas that it's like if you talk about them or if you even admit to them, it's like you're a bad person. And that's strange because those are there for a reason. They're there because if everything went, sorry about that. If everything went, the wrong way and we just lived in a world where it was fend for yourself, if you can't have just a great outlook on the world and like not get what's yours, and you gotta defend yourself. You have to, and it's just very interesting to me that these thoughts, and if you project them, then you get in trouble. But if you just keep them in your head, it's fine. And it's just a strange thing, and I truly think that if you have dark thoughts, sharing them is better than not sharing them, because once you share them, even if they are really, really negative and they hurt a lot of people, they're out there. People know what you're about. People know, oh, he is a racist. Oh, he hates women. Oh, he hates this. He hates that. Or she, sorry, or she. And I think at least people understand not to associate with you. They may not like what you say. They may not like what you think. They may not like what you do, your life. They may hate you too for hating a certain part of the world or a certain part of the population. But at least there's an understanding there. The worst thing in the world is when you know somebody, a close family member or a close friend or whatever it is, who's just super passive aggressive. That drives people insane. I know for me, it drives me insane. I've gone to therapy sessions and just talked about like unspoken language because it's there's no direction, and it's like until someone says it and actually says what's pissing them off, you don't know, and that is so it's unsettling, and it hurts. People gossip all the time, and I was talking to Taylor about this. I was like, I think when you gossip with somebody, people always get so worried. First of all, if you're gossiping about somebody, and you're worried about getting caught, you probably shouldn't be saying what you're saying. But even if I talk about somebody or I say something that, is relatively negative or, but it's still truthful. And if you get caught gossiping about somebody or saying something bad about somebody, the last thing you should do is lie about it. The second to last thing you should do is be like, yeah, I said that. What are you going to do? But the thing that you should do is try to explain yourself, because I'm sure you're at least somewhat of a stable person, and sometimes it's just a different perception or a different view on a certain thing. Like if something happens somewhere, school, work, wherever it is, you perceive it as a completely different way. And why? Who knows? Maybe you had an argument earlier that day with a significant other. Maybe you stubbed your toe 10 minutes before that happened, and your brain is still hyperactive, and there's still blood rushing through your body to go to your toe that's bleeding, and you're just on edge, and you're more in flight mode. And then someone does something that's uneasily settling in your stomach or doesn't settle well with you, and then you react a certain way, or you think of what they did as very intrusive and very wrong, even though the reality of it is it wasn't a big deal, at all. And I think that's important. So it's like, if you do get in trouble with somebody, if somebody doesn't like what you said about them, be truthful. Like, hey man, I don't know what I saw, what I didn't see, but what I think I saw is this, and I didn't really like the way you spoke to that person. And then they either respond, dude, that's some bullshit. Like, I don't know why you're such a hater. Or they respond, hey man, I that wasn't my intention. I apologize if I did it that, when I apologize for what I did, but this is what I actually meant. This is how I actually said it, and this is actually what I actually felt. And then it's cool. And then you actually gain respect for the other person. You may not like them, but at least you respect them. They respect you, and dude, it's all good, man, right? It's all good, dude. It's all good. That's why eyewitnesses on a stand is not really that. Not the best evidence to have, because people lie. People lie to themselves all the time. I lie to myself. I lie to myself all the time to make myself feel good. It's a mechanism to make yourself feel good. And everyone does it. Everyone gossips too. Everyone says things about people. It's what you do. It's in our DNA. Again, it's like the best way to know about other people and to kind of get a feel on other people is, yes, you have your thought on them, but what do these 8 people think about that person? Because then you can kind of feel out the tribe, feel out the people around you, feel out society in general. And that's kind of a weird thing going on right now. Is exactly what's going on. It's you don't have the ability to pick up multiple dozens of opinions from dozens and dozens of people, because the loudest people get the most recognition. The loudest people, they're vocally so loud, but they also have a lot of following. And maybe they do, maybe they don't, number-wise, but the following they have are powerful people. So you hear about so many extreme ideas, but you don't hear about the middle ground. There's middle ground on everything. There always has been, and there's always been, an acceptance for people. But now if you show one indication that you are this way, you also fall into all those categories. Like if I'm a gun right, like I support gun. Like I'm wearing a shirt right now with 2 pistols on a crab. And this is my shirt? No, it's my dad's shirt. He's a cop, and it's something to do with supporting cops. But this shirt's always so interesting to me because I wear the shirt out in public, and I've had some I've had some of the craziest people. Like I've had some of the most unsettling stares ever at this shirt. And I've also had some people say like, "Oh, I love that shirt." But it's true, right? I'm walking around, maybe I don't know if I'm subconsciously doing it on purpose, but I do. Honestly, this morning I wore this shirt because after my baseball game yesterday, I went over to my girlfriend's house and she didn't have any of my clothing, or I forgot my clothing, and this is the only shirt she has because she like takes my shit and she sleeps with it. But this was the only shirt I had this time. But sometimes I do pick, and I also only wear like 6 or 7 shirts. Like all the shirts that you guys see me wear on this podcast, that's actually like what I wear, and that's about the extent of my clothing. Oh yeah, and the reason why I don't wear my clothing, like my company's clothing on this podcast, is some of it's tank tops, but also a lot of them are sweatshirts. It's hot as balls in my room, and also they're like athletic wear, so I don't want to get really bad sweat stains. And secondly, I kind of feel uneasy about like cross promoting right now. It's just kind of strange. Plus, I kind of put a break on Silence Fitness, which is my clothing company, www.silencefitness.com. Currently having sale. By the time this comes out, the sale will be over. But yeah, no, it's interesting because like sometimes I get like these looks where like, oh, that guy's got a gun on his shirts. Oh fuck, he supports abortion. Oh fuck, he's also like a Catholic. Or fuck, man, he's like a bigot. Oh, he's a redneck. And it's like it's so insane to think about like how complex humans are. It's like that's ridiculous. There's not. I would honestly say 300 million people in this world. I think, give or take. I would say of this 300 million people, maybe 100,000 of them, I don't know, maybe 50,000 to 100,000 of them actually have every single belief that is a typical Republican or typical Democrat. Just it doesn't. That's truthful. I mean, that's being truthful with yourself. I mean, most people aren't truthful out in public because your biggest thing is to be outcasted. You don't want to be outcasted. The shame, the fear you have of somebody judging you is debilitating for so many people. And and it used to be that way for me. But it's a beautiful place when you can find yourself and you just don't really worry too much about other people. Not in the sense of like being rude, but just in the sense of, hey man, there's 7 billion people. I would be lucky if half of them like me. But the reality is, I would say 1/8 to, I would say 30% of them like me. 33%, 1/3 of the population. So, but that's a comfortable place we can get to. But yeah, it's a weird one, right? I'm wearing this shirt and I've already had some weird looks today, but it's just a shirt, right? It's a shirt with a crab on it. Talking about crabs, man, I was at the strip club and I got some. I'm just kidding. That was a lame joke. I'm a lame person, man. Guess what? I've never been to a strip club, and that that's so strange, right? So this is my philosophy on anything that, and it kind of gets shot. Like you could put bullets into some of my philosophies, but like my philosophy on money. So my thing is, I want everything to be an investment. Now I have a hierarchy of what I value. Food is pretty high up there. Do I wish it was? No. Do I wish it was lower? Absolutely. Do I love food? Yes. Will I spend a lot of money on food? Yes. Should I spend a lot of money on food? No. Will I continue to spend money on food? Probably. Should I decrease my hierarchy placement for food? Absolutely, 100%. Would I have a lot more money? Yes. But that brings me to the point where everything that I purchase is an investment. And that goes in seasons too for me. Like right now, I have a lot of podcasting equipment because I find so much value in it and I'm investing into this stuff for the future. And that's my thing with like some things I don't do. Like I don't do drugs because as of right now, and that could easily change, but as of right now, I don't see value in it. And that's not to disregard all the valuable things that can come out of some drugs. I hear a lot of people, obviously marijuana, you know all the positive effects of that. Lack of anxiety, better sleep, more creative thoughts. I just a more pleasant person to be around. But then also other drugs like there's veterans in the war that are, I think, from Iraq that are coming back and they're signing up for like these microdosing MDMA classes, where essentially they go like monthly, and I think it's monthly, and they microdose MDMA, which is the main chemical found in LSD. And you ask yourself, why do they do this? And it's like, why? And the answer is because your ego your ego is so deadly, and it's like your inability to for your brain to look at yourself in your eyes and be like, hey man, what you did is okay. Let that go. Like, yeah, maybe you fucked up. Maybe you said something wrong, but it's okay. Like, you gotta let that go. That's my brain talking to my eyes, by the way. That does not. Sometimes it's really hard to do. Sometimes it's really hard to do, and there's some things in my life I think I still haven't fully accepted an apology from internally, which is hard to deal with. But that's what these drugs do, is that they drop that ego. And this is everything that I've heard, read, listened about, is that they drop your ego, where you can go look at yourself now after taking a microdose of this drug that takes down your ego wall, and you're like, hey man, dude, it's okay. Like, maybe you messed up. Maybe, you did some horrible things over there. Or maybe you did some things that, your mom wouldn't be proud of, or that you're not proud of. But you have 30 years, 40 years left. Let's take it a step back and let's just relax. Let's just relax and enjoy what you have. But like that, so all those things with drugs, there's so many positive effects, and that's what they do. Microdose MDMA, and those are some of the positive effects of it, I believe. Not a scientist. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about it, but I did. Dude, I wish my freaking human mind had money in it. I need money. There's nothing in here, though. I've never even taken this thing off. My sister said it was like the last one there. So I don't know how I feel, because she saw it and she's like, yep, immediately. She bought it for me. Which is so sweet, right? But what does that say about me? Where it's like a bus of a brain was the first thought. The first thought she had when she saw a bust of a brain was her brother. I don't know what this says about me, but it may not say anything, but it's pretty crazy. But like, that's why I haven't been to a strip club, because I've never been the guy who actively looked for a girl, and that sounds very predatorial, but like in a sense for like a significant other or relationship. Or also, I'm very much the relationship guy. I just don't. My bandwidth is just in so many activities that if I had to focus at all, on multiple girls at once, dude, I would lose my mind. And that's the same thing with guy friends, or even friends that are girls. I don't like my guy friends. You guys know, like, I text you maybe once a week or Snapchat you once a month, and it's like not because I don't like them, but it's just my band. I'm constantly. I am always just doing something, not like super busy, but at least thinking. And it's like the idea of somebody texting 4 or 5 girls, even 2 girls, even 1 girl at times. Like, the idea of doing that. Oh, and then Snapchatting nowadays. Isn't it so weird that like your phone, you have to unlock your phone to get into it. But nowadays, you are like a slave to your phone, because people know exactly when you're on your phone. Like, the delivered and read receipt. That is the strangest thing in the world. And not that they now just don't know when you read or get a text message. They know if you blocked them on social media because your page won't come up. There's like things on Snapchat. There's like a special, because I had to do it one time because I had an absolute creep. But there's like a thing on Snapchat where you can like block them, but like they can still see that you're posting stories or something like that, so they know that you blocked them, or that they didn't. They know that you. They don't know that you blocked them, but for them, they still think they follow you. Does that make sense? Maybe not. But yeah, you can't hide anymore. Like, people, like, you used to be able to like go away, from people, but now it's like, the message delivered. They're on the phone. Why aren't they delivering? Oh, they posted on Snapchat. Oh, they put a story on Instagram. What's going on? Dude, you just can't get away from anything anymore. It's nonstop. It's in your face. It's your phone. I could pick up that phone if I want to, but if I hear a vibration go off. You guys see it sometimes, and I hate it. That's why I have my laptop over there, and I've turned my phone to airplane mode. It's like my dopamine system's like connected to my freaking fruit phone, my Apple phone. It's nonsense, dude. It's chaos, man. It's absolute chaos, bro. But yeah, what was I saying? I think I was talking about strip clubs, maybe. Yeah, so that's just like that's why I don't go to. I don't know if I answered the. I don't think I did, but that's why I don't like. I've never been to a strip club. I don't do drugs because as of right now, there's just no value. Also, like the strip club thing is just strange to me. But I've always been really weird in that sense. Like I don't like the idea of. Fuck. Maybe I should think before I say things. Clothing is very strange to me, right? Have you guys ever thought about clothing? I think I've talked about this before on one of my podcasts, on one of my episodes, but clothing is a weird thing. It covers up something that we all innately know is under there. And so like to the fact that there's places where the whole premise of entertainment is to watch a slowed up process of removing clothing to get to bare skin, which we all know is there, and sometimes fake skin, like fake organs, like fake tits and like a fake ass. That's so mind-boggling to me. Like, and then you're doing it all under the influence of, gasoline or alcohol. And I drink, so I'm not hating on alcohol. I'm not hating on strip clubs either. I think if like people go to them, it's a great thing. If it's a good way to make money. If you're a girl, if you're a guy, and I have nothing negative about it. But I can't go because I can't get over the fact that it's like an entertainment. It's like a watering hole for buffalo, right? It's like people go there and they watch the removal of pretty expensive apparel just get thrown away, and then you're naked, and then you're dancing, and it's just like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, of course that's what's under there. Like it's a woman, right? Or it's a guy. Of course, their dick's gonna be there. It's kind of what you expected, right? So like for me, the anticipation is just not there, and also you're throwing money away, which has always been strange to me too. It's just like the return on my investment is not there. And then for drugs, there's a return on my investment is not there. Like I said, I can't. I get scared using some of these drugs because I've already been called by dozens of people as being like very much of a extraterrestrial person. Like I'm very out there with my thoughts. And I honestly think that if I did get high, I would lose my mind. Like I really do. I think all the thoughts that I already have going in my head that are just so insane are there without the influence of anything. Now, if I had to be under the influence of something, there's either two things that happens. Either my brain finally goes on a pause for a little bit, which would be nice. But also that's why I drink every once in a while. Like I have 2 glasses of wine because my brain does slow down. So maybe that is what would happen. But also the opposite could happen where it just like kicks in double or overtime, kicks in second gear, and my brain looks at me, looks at my eyes, and it's like, hey man, good luck for these next 2 hours because now you're going to think about Martians playing on top of horses while looking at sea whales and trying to figure out why they call sea cows and how the hell did a freaking, what are those things that swim in the Florida oceans? Manatee, how are they related to cows? Right? Have you thought about that? I'm sure you haven't. I hope you haven't. I hope you have a relatively normal functioning species living inside of your head. Have you ever thought about that? Like, how the hell? That will put you on a mind trip right there. Just knowing that. Oh my god! I almost knocked my plans over. Just knowing that all of us came from. I mean, you guys heard it in my last podcast. I had to break everything down, like evolutional wise and like religion wise, because I don't know if my mom fully backs evolution. I think she does, but she also, I don't know. I can't speak for her, and I'm not gonna do that. Hold on, let me get some of my drink. I'll just put like my Baja Fresh cup over there. I don't know if you guys can see, because I don't want it to spill, and it's also kind of out of the camera shot. Damn it, I dripped. I don't know what that is. I think it's like peach lemonade. I think it's like peach lemonade. Yeah, but like all of us came from a star. Just saying that phrase right there, it just blows me out of the water. Like there was a explosion. As of right now, I think that's the leading idea of what the world is of a star blowing up, shot off different chemicals that combined, created single cell organisms. Single cell organisms just adapted, and everything was water. And then there was volcanoes, and the water went down because temperature went up, and then land started appearing, and then these animals were drowning or like dying because they couldn't breathe underwater, so they started adapting legs started forming. And you see geckos, they can swim, they have like two back legs and they have like fins. What if a gecko is just a human but from 2 million years ago, or I don't know, 4 billion years ago, since my time scale's off? Like what if geckos are humans? But then again, they are humans, right? Everything's a human, but then everything, that's if you're thinking from a selfish point, like humans. But honestly, everything is everything. I mean that's a mind trip. Like this plant is me, just took on a different evolutional direction. But that's one thing I don't really like thinking about too much, because I do get a little uncomfortable and I get a little scared every once in a while. Like thinking that that everything around us is just like a simulation is crazy. Like mathematically, so if there's 10 million worlds, which there's a lot of planets, right? Okay, here we go. So remember when you used to play Call of Duty? You would get into a game, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. You would get into a game, and you would there would be somebody with the best connection, and then you would figure out that they had host. So there's a one host person. That host person they have all the power, right? They have the connection power, which impacts your ability to jump in the game, to run in the game. You lag, you may not shoot around corners as well. It impacts a lot of stuff. And they have the host, but like, so they're living in the real reality, and we're all connecting to their computer, so we're living in a secondary reality. Now, if you can translate that to our world, if this is our world, we're the host, then that means, or let's say we're not the host, but we're playing someone else's game. So the host is the host. They're the reality. So there can only be one reality, because there always has to be a starting point, right? There can't just be, it has to start from somewhere. Even like a bacteria that splits into two, it started from one. Everything started from one. So if you think about it that way, there's only one reality. And if we're not that one reality, then we're a sub-reality of one major reality, which we could be just a level in someone else's video game. I didn't explain that well, but that's just, I don't know where I was going with that either. But yeah, and so evolution is it's a weird thing to think about. Planets are a strange thing to think about. If anybody wants to just come up here and talk about it, we can. But it can get a little weird sometimes, and it makes me want to just pee and drink water. But yeah, that's that, man. I do look forward to having a lot of guests on this podcast too. It's been a weird day. I was listening to, I was editing up my episode number 12, which was 2 podcasts ago. And as I was editing it up, I was like sad. And I don't know why. Just a lot going on. A lot of change again. And I do fine in change once it happens. But anticipation change is weird for me, because I act like it's not going to happen. And I've done that for so long. Like, if anything major is happening in my life, I'll just put it off in my brain. I act like it's never coming. And I always feel like it works, but it always backfires on me, and then I eventually break down and lose my mind because I didn't want it to happen. I was acting like it wasn't happening, and then boom, it happens. So lately, what I've been trying to do is just, instead of just using 100% of my energy all one day and just having it backfire on me, I've been trying to take like 2% a day, next day 3%. But today was just a sadder day, and I don't know why. I think it's because I have sad days every once in a while, and that's just what today was. It wasn't like terribly sad, but it was like kind of bumming, that people are leaving, and I'm nervous about like my personal training test. Just nervous about a lot of things. Feel like I'm not doing the best I can. Started listening to this rainy day playlist on Apple Music, and it was a great playlist, but some of it was sad, man. I just like texted my girlfriend, and I was like sad. So I get sad sometimes. I do, and honestly, I think I enjoy it, which is weird because being happy doesn't seem to make me feel as alive as when I'm angry and sad. That can come off weird, but I think when I'm happy, I'm happy. I feel good. Life's okay. I feel stable. But I feel better when I feel more present when I'm sad, but more than anything when I'm coming out of my sadness, when I'm pulling myself out of a depressed state or, a rough state, or and then developing myself. That's I don't know, there's something beautiful about that, right? There's something beautiful about being able to, because two things happen. You prove to yourself that you can make yourself happy. And another thing that happens is that it's going to be a while again until you go back down into a sad state. And I think that's where I am right now. I think I'm just bummed out that my girlfriend is leaving soon, and I won't be able to see her only every other weekend. And, just becoming a trainer just means a lot of change. School, I'm nervous about school. I've always been somebody who've booked up my schedule and always had everything planned out. And I always felt super confident being able to accomplish it at a really good pace. But this year I'm nervous, right? I'm nervous because this is the first time ever in my life where I've been putting myself first. Like mentally, I really am just trying to be a better person for myself, because I think for the longest time I've always neglected myself. I neglected self-care, and I've neglected the ability to, I wouldn't say like, sorry, just trying to get this mic semi-nice set up. But I've always neglected putting myself first, and it's there's just a lot. And I think it was just an off day, which is totally fine. I think it's absolutely fine to have off days. But I think when you're having them at the moment, it doesn't feel like especially when you're telling someone about it, which is something I learned to do, because you don't want to seem like you're bothering them. But at the same time, by you not telling somebody, especially someone especially someone that you have to deal with, or that has to see you every day, someone that has to deal with you every day, by you not letting them know that something's wrong, by you acting like everything's okay all the time, it isolates them as a person. It makes them feel like they're crazy. It makes them feel like they don't know you, and they don't know what's going on in your world. And that can be a really a really depressing thing for people. But so when I get sad, I've been sharing it a lot more lately, which is a good thing, but it's at the same time, it's just bummering, but it is what it is. And I always know, and I'm really good at knowing that it will be okay, because everything is okay. Everything will be okay. As long as you're being truthful to yourself, and you're doing the right thing most days of the week. And this is the most important thing, when you do something that's out of character, quote unquote, or you do something that's wrong, or you do something that intentionally hurts somebody, or even unintentionally hurts somebody, and I think that's a sign of great maturity and being just a good human being, is when you hurt somebody intentionally, you know what you did. But when you hurt someone unintentionally, being able to apologize to that person and let them know that you did wrong, and what you did was not, I did not go at it to hurt you and make you sad, but I did, and I apologize for that. I had to spend a lot of time doing that, because I did do that to a lot of people. Not because my goal was to make them feel like shit. I mean, my goal was to actually make them feel amazing. But when somebody we're all human, so we all have a range of emotions. But if you, in a relationship or whatever it is, but if you are so worried about only being happy around them, and you're so worried that if they're not happy with you 100% of the time, that means they're sad, and that means they hate you, you're gonna push people away. You're gonna isolate yourself, and you're gonna isolate them, because then they start, that phrase when people say, "I just don't know who you are anymore." It's like, of course not. No, of course you don't know who that person is anymore, because that full person, they're 100% person. They've shown you 80, but the times they show you 20, you just act like it's not there, and you're off-putting to them, and you hurt them, and you make them feel like they're crazy. You make it feel like they're wrong, and sometimes their feelings are wrong. And, sometimes their feelings are absolutely wrong, and maybe they're unacceptable, and maybe they're irrational. But that's not the point. The point is sometimes you just need to shut up and listen to people. And that goes through anything. That goes through being, even at your job. If you're customer service, dude, there's sometimes, always the best thing to do for somebody is to just listen to them bitch about you and complain, bitch to you. Now, don't let them get personal with it. But sometimes you just gotta shut up and listen. And that's what I did today. Normally, what I would normally do is just recognize I'm sad and just tuck it away and try to act like I'm not sad. And then that would become very detrimental to my health. I would become just unhappy. I would become fake. But not fake like in the sense that, I guess I would, but I would confuse myself, and then all day I would play like I'm somebody else, and then people would ask me, what's wrong with you? You don't seem right today. I'm like, oh no, I'm okay. I'm fine. What's going on with you? Like, why are you saying that? Don't say that about me. And you reflect the blame onto somebody else, and then that is where things go wrong. Friendships, relationships, working relationships, whatever it is. So I people always say be truthful. I think what they actually mean. Oh, that's cool. One of my friends said he'd be on my podcast. I would love to have him on. I think it's really important to find a sense of comfort in yourself, and not to. I feel like I talk about this every podcast, but I guess that's because it means so much to me. Jesus Christ, I'm looking up to this. I did this 1 year thing with Taylor. Goals I wanted to do. For 2019, and I did most of those. Towson did it. Adopt my work schedule, I did it. Talk to my boss, did it. Enroll for Towson, did it. Classes start, did it. Didn't do that. Oh, did that. 2000. Damn. Yeah, sorry. But I think it's very easy to get lost in this world and really lose feelings. Not lose, but think that I have an issue with motivation, especially motivational pages. I have an issue with things that promote positivity, but nothing else. And I think the reason why I have an issue with it is because it just doesn't seem authentic, and it takes a lot for somebody to say, when you're, I don't know, I don't want to offend anybody, but I always have this thought that people who, or organizations or businesses or whatever it is, a platform, when it's constantly happy, positive, it seems so insecure to me. And I know this from my experience, like always being a positive person. Those people, those businesses, those organizations, those lines of communication, they tend to be the most insecure ones. And it's not surprising, right? It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense because there's no way you can be that positive all the time, and then sometimes you're down. Like today I'm just down, but I'm going to be okay. I'm just down though, and that's totally fine, and I'm not upset about it. I don't feel like I'm doing wrong. It's just, it is what it is, and I'm not worried about it. But to act like everything is just okay all the time, it's just bogus, man. It would drive you insane. We know there's people that you've never seen a real smile because they just got used to the fake one. It's like, that exists, man, and you don't want that. You don't want that. You want to call yourself out. You want to correct your shit. You want to fix your life up. There's a really good quote I love by Jordan Peterson. I talk about him all the time. Dr. Jordan Peterson. It's like, how can you judge the world when you can't even keep your bed straight? Like, how can you say that the world needs to do this when you can't even put your bed sheets on your bed the right way? You don't even respect your own bedroom, right? And I'm looking at my bed and it's disgusting right now. It's trashed. It's absolutely trashed. And it's like, maybe that has something to do with me just being sad right now because I'm disrespecting my own room, and I could sit here and say, well, it's because I've been doing this podcast and I've been going here and there, but bullshit. I'll call myself out on that first. Like, that's bullshit. I need to take care of what's mine, and what's mine is out right now, and I should clean it, and I probably will after this podcast. But I don't like always just being super motivational. I don't like that, because motivation is such a weird word. It's like, it used to be so common. But what does it even mean? Like, what is motivation? The need for you to get up, do something, or sit down and read something. It's like, dude, if you even, I've done it. I do it every once in a while too. But you can't expect it every day, because every day, especially on those days where it's troubling, because you think there's so many of these pieces of art out there that just pushes that tone to you all the time, that maybe you do listen to them, and maybe you do feel a sense of motivation all the time, but then the times you don't, you feel like a fake. You feel like, damn it, why am I not motivated? And it's like, well, because you don't have to be. You shouldn't be. You absolutely should not be. You should find comfort in discomfort. You should find comfort in being sad. You should recognize all emotions, because there's such a complex group of people, man. Such a complex group of people, and like, all we have is right now. The future's not expected. The future's not a real thing. Like, when you think about the future, you have like these ideas, but where are these ideas coming from? These ideas are coming from things that you hope are gonna happen, but they could not. They may just not happen, and that's real. That's real for a lot of people. Sometimes things just don't turn out the way they wanted to be. So all you have is right now, and all you really have is the ability to just be the best person you can for other people, but you got to be the best person for yourself. So I think the act of just blowing off your sadness and your depressing thoughts, it's like taking cheap shots at your chin all day, but not from somebody else, but by yourself, man. I think this is a real thing. I think that's really important. I do. I really do. And I talk about it a lot, because I think it's really necessary for people to hear. I think it's really necessary for men to hear too. I think it's okay to be a man. I think it's okay to be aggressive. I know it's okay to be aggressive. I know it's okay to say some bullshit. And I know it's okay to showcase your real side. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to just be uptight sometimes. But what's not okay is to drag other people through the dirt. That's not okay. Also, what's not okay is to tell something to somebody and then pulling them back through it. It takes a lot to... It takes a lot to be in a relationship with yourself. It takes a lot to do a lot of searching from within. There's some people in my life that if I never found, I don't think I would really appreciate with what I have. Like, I've been in rough relationships before, and that's why I can appreciate the ones that I've been in lately. And some people just hate other people so much, and some people just hold grudges so much, and that does nothing for you. Like, the other person doesn't know you're holding a grudge. And it's like, but you do, and you're actually hurting yourself. Like, you're increasing your blood pressure. Like, you're hurting yourself. You're creating a higher chance for you to die of cancer, because your heart's just so tense all the time. It's like, don't do that. Go to the gym. Work out. Write things down. I do a 30-second brain dump when I get a little anxious, a little stressed. I just write down anything that comes to my brain, and then I try to figure out what they mean. Sometimes they don't really mean much, or at least at the time I can't figure it out. I've talked about it before, and I'll say it again. I think it's really important to journalize. Journal things, write things down. Give yourself 3 things to do every day, whether it be to drink 1 less soda, or have no soda, or go to the gym for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then check it off. And then by the act of you checking it off, you're making small little accomplishments that will make you feel so great in the long run. That's really important. I think it's good, because I think having big goals are fine. This is good, but I also think that they're not good in the sense that they're delayed. You're not going to accomplish them for a while. So what are you going to do in the meantime? Are you just going to constantly be working forward towards those? Yes, you will, but they become like like a shadow. You can see them, but they're not real, and they're not detailed either. If you're going to do a painting, you have an idea what the painting's going to be, but you have to, but you don't see the details. You don't see the details. You have an idea. You have an outline of it. And if you're just blindly going for that painting, you don't know how to get there. So you don't know what not to do, what to do. You don't know when to do it. You don't know how to do it. You don't know what pencil to use for it. You don't know what type of paintbrush you need. And it's like in order to figure out and how to get that imagination, that idea out on a piece of paper, you have to do little goals. You have to be like, all right, I'm going to go buy this paintbrush today, or I'm going to do research on what type of colors mix well so I can get a certain color for my painting. And then the details start forming. So it's weird, right? Because you have just a straight, and I did that with the podcast, I had such a strong level of motivation, but then I didn't act on it. So then it was still there, but the picture was becoming less detailed because I wasn't taking any action because I was scared, and then I bought something and I was like, well, bought something. I guess I got to buy something again. I bought another thing and now I have this, and it's details slowly come together. Like this was not, dude, I didn't know where I was going to do the podcast. I was thinking about renting out some space. I was thinking about doing it in the basement. I literally 2 months ago, I was looking in my basement behind my bathroom, which is like an unfinished part. I almost set it up down there, but then the sub pump was so loud. I was like, oh, can't do that. Did not know that this was where it was going to be, but that's not the point, If I sat there for so long trying to figure out what my ultimate big goal should be, I would have never got this. I would still be playing in the sand. I would still be bitching and crying and telling people, oh, I'm going to have a podcast, blah, 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 but I wouldn't have anything, man. Like that's but that's true with everything in life, man. The first step is just the first step. Like putting one foot in the other, and then when you go back 12 steps, you take 13 steps again forward, and then you just keep on going. And you got to build momentum. Once you have momentum, things start just falling together, man. You got to have things start falling together. You need to start giving yourself small victories. Once you start giving yourself small victories, you build up confidence, in something. Like I had zero confidence in this podcast from the beginning. I wanted to do it. I think I could do it. But even when I first spoke into this mic 14 episodes ago, I was so uncomfortable. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was looking at. I was looking at the wall. I didn't know what to look at. Now I look at myself through the mirror, through the camera. Sometimes I look into the camera lens. I didn't know when to make eye contact, when to not make eye contact. I didn't know where I should do it in the room. I didn't know if I should be near the window. Like I just didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted behind me, what represents me. Now everything around me represents me. And it's like I did overanalyze. I became paralyzed overanalyzing. You can't. You gotta stop that. You just gotta pick up a foot and put it forward. And if you can't physically pick it up, you gotta grab something. You gotta pick it up with your hands. You just gotta keep moving. Keep moving, and that's when you're gonna feel most fulfilled. And sometimes I get really frustrated because things aren't lining up when I'm editing them. Some things just aren't happening. It's like, oh, why are you pissed off, Michael? It's like, oh, because you really want it to work. That's why you're angry. Like, that's why you're mad. Because you want it to work, but it's just not working. And that's frustrating because if I didn't care, I wouldn't be mad. I'd toss it away and I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't care at all. I see that with my girlfriend. Like, she gets really mad at school. It's like, well, I can sit, I have, and I'm probably going to tell later today, like, I sit there, and I'm like, well, why do you care so much? Like, why do you get so frustrated? You have so many other things going for her. It's like, well, that's not the point. Listen, Mike, that's not the point. The point is that's what she really loves. And that's what she feels most accomplished when she does. That's the point, man. The point is that you get really frustrated at the things that you find value in and that you find, or at least become passionate about. In order to find that, you just got to take risk in anything that comes to your head. You should probably at least before you do anything, you should realize it's just dumb or like, yeah, you're aware of that. If you're watching my podcast, I know you're capable of that. Like, is this just going to hurt other people in a selfish act? If that's the case, you should probably not do it. But if there's some value in it, like there's billions of people in the world. Nobody has the same passion for first or third. Nobody. I would say nobody. I mean, maybe like 1 to 10, nobody has the same exact order of passion out of 7.5 billion people in the world. I would say out of 7.5 billion people in the world, there's probably about 8 billion to 10 billion passions. Passions, man. Whatever. Making towels, flamingo watching, bird research, dove research, helmet collecting. how would you possibly know what you'd like, what you don't like, if you're so damn scared to do it? Or if you, not scared, but once you have any type of identity, like I'm a football player, then you see ballet and you're like, no, don't do that. It's like, well, maybe you do. Or maybe you do for a month. Maybe within that month you develop extremely strong toes, and then you go back to playing football and you have the strongest toes so you can run the quickest. It's like the things connect. We all connect. All of us connect. Like, we all have different feelings. Like, if someone walked in the house right now, downstairs, breaking in with a gun, I could feel them come in. There's like a connection. It's really, really hippie-ish, but it's true, though. It's like you can't, like, you neglecting those impulsive thoughts or those things that come in your head, and you think they're a good idea, as long as they don't hurt and harm other people or hurt yourself. By you not doing them, you're basically telling your brain, nope, you're stupid, not going to listen to you. Like, don't do that. That's a bad idea, right? That's a bad idea. You shouldn't do that. You should do those. At least enough where then you can finally make a decision. Nope, don't like that. Don't like doing that. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. But yeah, guys, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode right here. I think it's about an hour long. Like I said, I will be having guests on in the future. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching this on a podcast platform, please leave it a rating, comment on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, like on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and end this video here right now. Guys, hopefully you enjoy the setup. Hopefully when I do another dual podcast, I will have a better, easier setup for you guys to watch. With that being said, guys, have a blessed week. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in episode 15.